Imagine waking up one morning craving your favorite cup of coffee, only to find out it's vanished from store shelves, or heading to the grocery store for a chocolate fix, only to be greeted by an empty aisle. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because by the end of February 2025, some of your favorite grocery staples might be impossible to find. From dairy shortages to a looming olive oil crisis, in this video, I'm revealing 10 surprising grocery items that experts predict will vanish from shelves. And believe me, number one will make you rethink your weekly shopping strategy, and you won't believe why. Stay tuned because you'll want to stock up before it's too late. 1. Chocolate lovers, I've got some bad news. Your favorite sweet treat might be harder to find before the end of February 2025. And no, this isn't just another price hike, it's a full-blown crisis. The problem starts with cocoa beans. Most of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, mainly Ghana and Ivory Coast. But extreme weather, disease, and poor harvests have hit these regions hard. Cocoa production has dropped so much that major chocolate brands are struggling to get enough supply. Less cocoa means fewer chocolate bars, candies, and even baking chocolate. To make things worse, big companies like Hershey and Nestle have already warned about rising costs. Some brands have even started shrinking chocolate bars while keeping prices the same. Yep, you're paying more for less. And if supply keeps dropping, we could see certain chocolate products disappear entirely from store shelves. And it's not just about your favorite candy bars. Chocolate chips, hot cocoa, and even flavored protein bars could be affected. Bakeries and coffee shops might also struggle to keep chocolate desserts on the menu. So, what can you do? If you're a chocolate fan, it might be time to stock up now. Prices will likely keep climbing, and some items could become luxury treats. Maybe it's time to try some alternatives. Carob, anyone? Okay, maybe that's a stretch. One thing's for sure, if you see your favorite chocolate bar at a decent price, grab it, because by the time March rolls around, it might be gone. 2. Coffee. Imagine waking up, groggy, and in desperate need of your morning coffee, only to realize there's none left on store shelves. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, it's becoming a reality. Coffee is heading toward a major shortage, and by the end of February 2025, finding your favorite brew might not be so easy. So, what's going on? It all comes down to supply issues. Most of the world's coffee comes from Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam, but extreme weather, including droughts and unexpected frosts, has damaged coffee crops. Less coffee means higher prices and eventually empty shelves. And that's not all. Shipping delays, labor shortages, and increasing global demand are making the situation worse. Even big coffee chains like Starbucks and Dunkin' are struggling to keep up. If you've noticed your favorite coffee brand getting more expensive, this is why. The shortage is hitting all kinds of coffee, whole beans, ground coffee, instant coffee, even those fancy espresso pods could become harder to find. And if you're a fan of flavored coffee, those might disappear even faster since companies will prioritize basic blends over specialty flavors. What can you do? If coffee is a must-have in your daily routine, consider buying extra now. Look for deals and maybe even try switching to a more affordable brand. Some people are even turning to alternatives like chicory or mushroom coffee. Not the same, I know, but desperate times. The bottom line? If you love your daily cup of coffee, don't take it for granted, because in just a few weeks, your morning routine might look very different. 3. Citrus fruits. You're at the grocery store, ready to grab some fresh oranges for your morning juice or a few lemons for that perfect homemade lemonade. But the shelves? Completely empty. Sounds dramatic, but by the end of February 2025, this could be the new reality. Citrus fruits, like oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruits, are becoming harder to find, and it all comes down to extreme weather. Florida and California, two of the biggest citrus-producing states, have been hit with hurricanes, droughts, and unexpected cold snaps. These weather disasters have devastated citrus groves, leading to lower crop yields. But that's not the only problem. A disease called citrus greening has been attacking trees for years, making it harder for farmers to grow healthy fruit. Once a tree gets infected, it stops producing usable citrus, and there's no cure. More infected trees mean fewer oranges and lemons making it to grocery stores. This shortage is already affecting prices. Have you noticed orange juice getting ridiculously expensive? That's because there aren't enough fresh oranges to meet demand, and it's not just juice. Many processed foods, From salad dressings to flavored snacks rely on citrus. Even restaurants and bars are struggling to keep limes in stock for cocktails. So, what can you do? If you love fresh citrus, buy it while you still can. Prices are expected to keep rising, and some varieties might disappear altogether. You can also look for alternatives. Frozen or bottled lemon and lime juice can last longer and still add that zesty flavor to your meals. One thing's for sure, if you love a fresh glass of orange juice in the morning, enjoy it while it lasts, because soon it might just be a luxury. 4. Milk, cheese, butter, staples in most households. But before the end of February 2025, getting your hands on these dairy essentials could be a real challenge. The biggest issue? A massive drop in milk production. Farmers are dealing with rising feed costs, labor shortages, and extreme weather, all making it harder to keep up with demand. On top of that, a recent outbreak of avian flu has spread to dairy cows, further disrupting milk supplies. Fewer cows producing milk means less of everything. Cheese, yogurt, butter, even ice cream. Prices are already climbing, and some stores have started limiting how much milk customers can buy. If things keep going this way, shelves could start looking emptier than usual. And it's not just fresh dairy products that are affected. Many processed foods rely on milk, from baked goods to frozen meals. If dairy supplies keep dropping, even products like mac and cheese or creamy salad dressings could become harder to find. Stock up if you can, especially on items like cheese and butter that can be stored for longer. Plant-based alternatives like oat or almond milk might become more popular, but even those are seeing price hikes due to supply chain issues. If you're used to grabbing milk without thinking twice, that might not be the case much longer. 5. Olive oil is one of the most essential ingredients in kitchens, but by the end of February 2025, it's going to be harder and way more expensive to find. The main reason? A devastating olive oil shortage. Countries like Spain, Italy, and Greece produce most of the world's olive oil, but back-to-back heat waves and droughts have severely reduced olive harvests. Some farmers have reported losing up to 70% of their crops. With fewer olives, there's simply not enough oil to meet demand. This shortage is already driving prices through the roof. A bottle that cost $10 last year might now be selling for $20 or more. And as supply keeps dropping, some stores are even limiting how many bottles customers can buy. The impact goes beyond just cooking oil. Many packaged foods, from salad dressings to snack foods, rely on olive oil. Restaurants are also feeling the squeeze, with some switching to cheaper alternatives like vegetable or sunflower oil. If you use olive oil regularly, it's a good idea to buy an extra bottle while you still can. Prices are expected to keep rising, and some brands might disappear from shelves entirely. For now, keep an eye on store shelves, because the next time you go looking for olive oil, it might not be there. 6. Eggs have been in short supply before, and it's happening again. By the end of February 2025, expect higher prices and empty shelves in the egg aisle. The main problem? Another outbreak of avian flu. This highly contagious virus has already wiped out millions of chickens across the U.S. Fewer hens mean fewer eggs, and that shortage is pushing prices up fast. Some grocery stores have even started placing limits on how many cartons people can buy. But the trouble doesn't stop there. Feed costs and transportation issues are making it even harder for farmers to recover. The result? Fewer eggs, higher prices, and more frustrated shoppers. If you bake a lot or rely on eggs for breakfast, now's the time to plan ahead. Powdered or liquid egg substitutes can be a backup option. Some people are even turning to plant-based alternatives like flax eggs or chickpea flour for cooking. For now, if you see eggs at a decent price, grab them, because the next time you check, they might be gone or cost twice as much. 7. If you love snacking on chips, crackers, or cookies, brace yourself. Many of your favorite processed snacks could be missing from shelves before the end of February 2025, and even if you do find them, they'll likely cost a lot more. Why is this happening? The biggest reason is new food regulations. The U.S. government is cracking down on artificial additives, dyes, and certain preservatives found in processed snacks. Many of the ingredients used in popular brands are now under review, and companies are being forced to reformulate their products. Big snack companies like Mondelez, which owns brands like Oreo and Ritz, and Frito-Lay are struggling to keep up with these changes.
Reformulating products takes time, and while they work on new recipes, some items are being pulled from shelves.
This means fewer options and, in some cases, complete shortages of certain snacks. Another major factor is supply chain issues. Many processed snacks rely on ingredients like wheat, corn, and vegetable oils, commodities that have been hit by droughts, high transportation costs, and global shortages. If one key ingredient is missing, entire production lines can be delayed or shut down. And let's not forget inflation. Rising costs for ingredients, packaging, and labor mean snack prices are going up. Some brands have started shrinkflation, where they keep the same price but reduce the size of the product. Ever noticed your bag of chips feeling lighter? That's not your imagination. The processed snack shortage isn't just affecting grocery stores. Restaurants, vending machines, and even convenience stores are struggling to keep up with demand. Some retailers have even started limiting purchases of certain snack brands to prevent hoarding. So, what can you do? If you have a favorite snack, stock up now. Prices will likely keep climbing, and some brands may disappear temporarily. You can also explore alternative snack options. Homemade popcorn, nuts, or even making your own cookies could be a smart move. The next time you reach for a bag of chips or a box of cookies, don't take it for granted. Soon, those snack aisles might look a lot emptier than you expect. 8. Canned foods have always been a go-to for stocking up, but by the end of February 2025, you might notice fewer options on the shelves. From canned vegetables and soups to beans and tuna, many of these pantry staples are becoming harder to find. The problem? A combination of supply chain disruptions, metal shortages, and rising costs. First, let's talk about the cans themselves. Aluminum and tin prices have skyrocketed due to global supply chain issues and increased demand. With fewer materials available, production has slowed down, making it harder for food companies to keep up. Some brands have even started switching to alternative packaging, but that takes time, meaning fewer canned products are hitting store shelves. Then there's the issue of food production. Droughts and extreme weather have hurt crop yields, especially for vegetables like tomatoes, corn, and green beans, key ingredients in many canned goods. The seafood industry is also struggling, leading to shortages of canned tuna, salmon, and sardines. On top of all this, labor shortages and rising transportation costs have made it more expensive to produce and ship canned foods. Many manufacturers are cutting back on production to manage costs, leading to fewer choices and higher prices for shoppers. What does this mean for you? If you rely on canned goods for quick meals, soups, or emergency food storage, it's time to stock up. Focus on essentials like beans, vegetables, and proteins that can last a long time. Keep an eye out for sales, but don't wait too long. Prices are expected to rise even more. Canned foods have always been a reliable backup, but this shortage is proving that even the most basic pantry staples aren't guaranteed. 9. Rice is a kitchen essential for millions of households, but by the end of February 2025, finding a bag at your local grocery store could become a real challenge. Prices are already climbing, and some stores are struggling to keep up with demand. The main reason? A global rice shortage. Countries like India, Thailand, and Vietnam, some of the world's largest rice exporters, have been hit with severe droughts and unpredictable weather. As a result, rice production has dropped and exports have been restricted. India, which supplies over 40% of the world's rice, has already placed limits on how much it sells to other countries. This means the U.S. is getting less rice than usual, and shortages are starting to appear. Another big factor is the rising cost of fertilizers and fuel. Farmers are paying more to grow and harvest rice, making it more expensive for suppliers to ship it across the world. This leads to higher prices at grocery stores, and in some cases, certain types of rice, like jasmine or basmati, may disappear altogether. And don't forget panic buying. Whenever people hear about a food shortage, they rush to stock up, which only makes things worse. This already happened in 2023 when rice prices spiked, and it's likely to happen again as shortages continue. If rice is a big part of your meals, now is the time to buy an extra bag or two. Look for alternatives like quinoa, barley, or couscous in case rice becomes too expensive or unavailable. Stores may still have some supply, but the prices won't be as friendly as they used to be. Rice has always been one of the most reliable and affordable pantry staples, but this shortage is proving that even the basics aren't safe. 10. Bread is one of the most common grocery staples, but by the end of February 2025, finding your favorite loaf might not be so easy. Prices are already rising, and some brands could even disappear from store shelves. The biggest issue? A wheat shortage. The US and several other major wheat-producing countries, like Canada and Ukraine, have been struggling with extreme weather, poor harvests, and global supply chain disruptions. Droughts and floods have damaged wheat crops, leading to lower production. Less wheat means less flour, which directly affects bread production. Another factor is rising costs. Farmers are spending more on fuel, fertilizers, and transportation, which makes wheat more expensive. This increase in cost gets passed down to bakeries and bread manufacturers, making your favorite loaf more expensive or unavailable. Some bakeries are already cutting back on production, and smaller brands might not survive the shortage. And it's not just sandwich bread that's affected. Bagels, buns, tortillas, and even specialty breads like sourdough and whole grain could become harder to find. Restaurants and fast food chains that rely on bread for sandwiches and burgers are also feeling the pressure. If you eat bread daily, it might be a good time to buy extra and freeze it. You can also try alternatives like wraps, pita bread, or even making your own at home. Flour prices are rising too, but homemade bread can still be a cost-effective option compared to store-bought loaves. Bread is something most of us take for granted, but with these shortages, it's clear that even the simplest foods aren't guaranteed anymore. The grocery shortages coming before the end of February 2025 aren't just small inconveniences. They could seriously impact what's available on store shelves and how much you pay for everyday essentials. From chocolate and coffee to dairy, bread, and rice, these shortages are affecting some of the most common grocery items we rely on. Rising costs, extreme weather, supply chain disruptions, and government regulations are all playing a role in making certain foods harder to find. And when demand is high but supply is low, prices go through the roof. If you've already noticed smaller packages, higher prices, or empty shelves, that's just the beginning. So what can you do? Be prepared. Stock up on essentials while they're still available at reasonable prices. Keep an eye on grocery sales and consider alternatives where possible. And most importantly, don't wait until shelves are empty. By then, it might be too late. What do you think about these shortages? Have you already noticed some of these items disappearing? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this information helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next update on grocery trends and survival tips. Stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next